Okay, it's a little after 6 o'clock. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Recreation Commission meeting of August 15th, 2022. Would you all please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're going to do the minutes, and then we're going to take a couple of things out of order. So the first item on our agenda right now will be approval of the minutes for July 11th, 2022. Is there a motion?
I make that motion. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of July 11, 2022. Is there any questions or comments? They were well done, thank you. And seeing none, I'll put it to the motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And that's 4-0-0. And actually, we do, I think, would you like to do the disc golf next, Brendan, and we'll pull out the public participation after that?
Up to you, up to you. Disc golf has a presentation,
How
I don't-
long is the disc presentation, do you think?
10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Would you mind waiting for 5 minutes and we'll get rid of the public? Okay. Let's do the public
Well, we didn't
participation.
mean it that way, get rid of it.
Let's do public participation next. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on public participation? Yes, come on up.
Hello.
Welcome back.
State my name.
Yes, please say your name and your address for the record.
Name, my
Thank you.
address. Diane Levis, 17 Church Lane. So this is about the pickleball? So I need to come up now, right, to talk about the pickleball? Where it's public? Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
So the panels, the additional panels went up on Saturday. Thank you for attempting that. There's no change. There hasn't been as many people over there. Saturday afternoon, I can play a few. There was only 2 people over there. This is sitting from my front porch, if you'd like to hear it. It's not tons of action because the people weren't playing, real heavily. They kept stopping the ball. Sunday, there weren't as many people over there, and I was working today, so I wasn't able to get more today. It's also a little bit hard to get, the recordings because there's so many cars going down the street right now. I don't know if it has to do with the construction work, that they're detouring cars from Bedford or not, but so today, there was cars coming up the street all day, and so it's difficult to get a recording. But this one is from Saturday. Oops, let me stop that, put it at the beginning. This is from Saturday, right after it was done, Saturday afternoon, and it's just me sitting out on the bench at the front of my house. I just put nothing. And that's it. It was just, I just took a short clip, but you could hear the 3 pops definitely still popping. 2 people were playing.
Well, thank you, Diane, for coming back
Okay.
and giving us that update. We're not forgetting about these issues. We're
Oh, yeah.
looking at relocation issues. We were hoping that this repair work would improve the situation until we find a more permanent solution. It sounds like from your presentation, it's not really making too much of a difference for the neighbors.
That's
so,
okay.
If there's anything else, now we have another woman
No,
who's.
I just wanted to support, I live right across the street, so I support Diane and what we're going through.
Okay.
Yeah, I just played one quick recording from Saturday. So I was just wondering if there was an update on, I know the weather didn't cooperate with the hockey court, that material that you were gonna test out as a possible solution to even out the surface. I know you either needed rain.
Yeah.
Or you
Or
were
stand
gonna
up there
put
with a
some
hose.
water.
I would be public enemy number
Yeah.
one.
Don't do the
If I was
No, no,
standing
no.
up there with a hose watering cement.
So that didn't happen, I'm sure.
Right.
So is that something, though, that we can still explore? Because my concern is a longer-term solution, like a real long-term solution, is gonna be too far out, years out, versus I thought we kind of said that we would maybe look to at least move it back to the hockey rink, if possible.
So as soon as we get some
Okay,
precipitation, you know, in,
2 years from now.
well, let's hope not. But I will have them out. I've already reached out to them, just without rain in the forecast, it's difficult. And then, you know, when you get those chance of afternoon showers and they don't
Right.
come,
Right.
they're not gonna come out and stand there and wait
Yeah.
too, so.
Yeah.
But I will,
Okay.
as soon as we get rain, make sure that they can get out there. so.
Okay. I'll give that a try. Okay, because, right, that was still, our hope
Yeah,
is if
yeah.
at least move it
Mr.
back.
Sullivan?
Oh, just a question.
Yeah.
So, I was frustrated that they weren't up, and,
It was
So,
so hot, though.
but now they're up. I didn't know they were up yet. Donna, you're lower, do you notice any difference
Well, to be
with the
honest,
sound?
I think, excuse me, I just came from work, so I don't want to, I feel contaminated. I apologize. Working
I'm
on
just,
hotspot.
I got over
No,
it.
so I think they just went up this
Saturday.
Saturday.
and we were away, so I can't really say because I hadn't heard, I wasn't there.
So they didn't bother you then?
No, they
this
didn't.
weekend? I'm just teasing
No,
you.
send me away forever.
Okay, so for the minutes, we can say that Donna didn't notice any noise this weekend?
Donna was oblivious, right?
All right, I want to hear it myself to see if it
Yep.
made a difference, whether if we move the courts up top, if that's the solution, whether the sound barriers are useful up there. So, you know, we don't want, we paid for them, so hopefully they'll
Right.
add to it wherever they go.
Hopefully, because that's higher, so from my second floor, which I don't have the recordings today, the sound is still escaping from the top. But where the hockey rink is higher up, at least that's higher than at least my house. I don't know about
Yeah.
Melissa's, it'd be higher than your house too. So I feel like it would help some, but they're not high enough at the lower level court, I think.
Can I just ask, the fence will hold those sides, okay? I know there was a
Will they
concern.
just-
Yep, I
You
had a
must have
fence
already
company
talked
come
about
out.
it. They came
Yes.
out. Just don't want anyone to get hurt, obviously neither do you, but I just wanted to be sure. Okay,
Okay.
thanks.
Any other comments or
Thank you.
questions for? Okay.
So we
Well, thank
just
you for
gotta-
joining us again tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
You're welcome anytime.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
So we should just wait to hear from you about the next steps?
Yeah, so as soon as we know we're gonna actually get some rain, physically get some
Okay.
rain, I will have that company, you know, I'll watch the forecast, I watch every
Okay.
week praying for rain.
Yeah.
When they come out, I'll let you know what they say.
Okay,
You know, I'll send it to the group, as I've been keeping
Okay,
you guys
thank
informed
you.
as much as possible. So we'll do that.
okay.
Okay.
All right?
I appreciate it.
Thank
No
you.
problem,
Thank
thank
you.
you for coming.
Thanks for your
Thank you.
time.
Okay, if there's no objection, the chair would like to take the disc golf presentation out of order on our agenda.
Oh, can we do the Community Preservation Act?
Does you have any preference, Brendan?
I'm okay with that. It
Should be
we've
quick.
talked about CPA a few times, so this
Yeah.
should probably be pretty quick.
Okay, why don't we do the CPA first, and then we'll do the disc golf presentation following the CPA presentation. Welcome.
Thank you. Bill Boyven, I am Conservation Commissioner, but I'm also representing tonight the Yes CPA Burlington Committee. I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, to come and speak to you. I've been here before, and I gave a full presentation of what the CPA was all about in order to request your support at getting it through the warrant process and the town meeting to get it on the ballot. That was successful by a clear majority, and I appreciate the support you gave at that time. So now, I'm back to seek your endorsement for actually its passage at the November ballot. We want to be able to make sure we represent each commission correctly in what they did endorse, so this is what we're asking for now. I firmly believe the Community Preservation Act is a good thing for this community. It'll provide new funds for traditionally underfunded areas, including recreation. In the last few weeks alone, I've heard comments from people about poorly drained soccer fields, needs for scoreboards and athletic fields, additional restrooms that are needed at playgrounds, and even a desire for a town swimming pool. The CPA could help with all of those things and others like it. I've heard some comments saying that the things that CPA could fund could be done under the regular budget process. Well, that's possibly true, but with the state match, such projects can be done with more flexibility and with a 30% savings to the town. So I respectfully request an official endorsement from this commission, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the commissioners for questions or comments. Kevin?
So I have to abstain from the vote because I'm part of the committee. I've been working with the folks since 3 years now.
Yeah.
They've been doing it. And it's a great thing for recreation. You know, a lot of times when we come to town meeting, we're only asking for what we really need, and a lot of times it's repairs or upgrades. There's some things on our list that will never happen because, you know, we get to town meeting and is it an emergency, a safety issue, or is it something we, you know, a wish list item? And, you know, the state's matching 30% of the funds. We'd be saving the taxpayers money and making Burlington a better place at the same time by doing these improvements that sometimes get lost on budget items and that are part of the necessary funding of the town and not town improvements. So it's a great thing. Half the state is doing it. 70% of the population is CPA towns, and the recreation department, in my opinion, commission should support it wholeheartedly.
And if I could just add one thing to what Kevin said, that, you know, half of the communities in this Commonwealth are in it. They've all had the opportunity to opt out the same way you opt in. You put it on the ballot and you can vote it out, and not one of the 190 communities has ever done that in 20 years. So it just shows the success of it. Some of them have actually raised their percentage surtax over the years because they find it a successful program.
Mr. Norden?
Mr. Chairman, I put forward a motion that the Rec Commission take a vote on the CPA funding for approval or disapproval.
I guess it would be to support.
To support the CPA ballot
Ballot.
initiative
Exactly.
in the fall. When is
November 8th.
Yeah.
Second that.
All right, before we vote on it, any other comments or questions?
I don't understand why you can't vote, though. Just as a committee member, I mean,
That was going to be my question.
you should be able to vote on it. I
Okay,
mean,
so
everyone's on committees.
Through the chair, I checked with Amy Warfield, and she kind of recommended that I abstain because on the yes for CPA, that it might be a conflict of interest. And I just don't want to make anything inappropriate, so I would obviously vote yes, but I just don't want to do anything that's a conflict of interest. So,
Even an
I
appearance.
just abstain.
Even the appearance of a conflict is something you'd like to avoid. I mean, she's told me I can't work the ballot. I can't work at the polls on November 8th because I'm representing something on the ballot, so.
Yeah, if you're
It's just the
representing
appearance,
a
yeah.
yes or a no committee, I can see why she would take that
Yeah.
position.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
just to be safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Any other comments or questions? I have one quick comment. Billy, I thought you did an excellent job when you came before us
Oh, thank you.
several months ago with your presentation. It answered all the questions that I had. It was wonderfully done. I liked the brochure that you handed out. It was a nice little lesson, you know, in how to make a presentation, so you did a great job.
Thank you.
I'm going to fully support this. I think it's a fantastic win-win for the town.
Glad to
Is
hear
it
it.
stated 40% or 30% right now?
It's at 40%, but
Yeah.
if you do the math, if something costs, $140,000 and they match 40%, it's a 30% savings when you do the match.
Yes, I get you.
Match,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
100.
Let's hope they stay at the 40, maybe go up a little bit, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, there's a big surplus in the state, so, in the last few years, the governor has taken some of that surplus and added it to the
Yeah.
additional, as an additional input to the CPA fund, and that helps keep that percentage match up.
It's a great opportunity for the town, I think. Anybody else want to make any comments before we vote? Seeing none, we will put the motion to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. All those abstaining?
Aye.
Anybody in the negative? No. 301. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Bill.
I
Good luck in the
appreciate
fall.
your vote, and I appreciate you taking me out of order.
One other thing I wanted to mention, Bill, really quickly, there was there's a website where you can make, I think, a donation for
Yes.
this.
Yes, you can sign up at the yescpaburlington.org, and it gives a lot of information about it, and there's opportunities to donate money, to volunteer for putting a yard sign out or holding a sign on election day. You can participate that way.
Very good. All right,
Great.
perfect.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
bringing that up.
Okay, now, if there's no objection to taking this next item out of order, I'd like to do the disc golf presentation.
Yes, so this is Nick Brozak. He has been working on some improvements with a group. We've met up at the disc golf course a few times and put together a little presentation on some of the improvements and a redesign of the course that they've suggested that will be something that we're just looking for support from the commission on tonight. And we'll get, I'll figure out what's going on.
All right,
It might have just gone to sleep.
maybe. Okay,
There's
All right.
no audio to this, except Nick's voice.
yeah, just me.
That's fine, welcome.
Thank you. Members of the commission, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come and speak. This is something, like Brendan said, I've been putting a lot of work into for well over the last year to try and bring this to the forefront, so I really appreciate the opportunity. We can jump right into it. I think in terms of where I wanted to start off with kind of just setting the stage for why I think this is important, it's just the general growth of disc golf as a sport. To bring any amount of stats into it, I wanted to show you the PDGA is the governing body over the disc golf, competitive disc golf. The first PDGA number was given out in 1976. 41 years later, in 2017, we had number 100,000. Just 4 years after that, we got to number 200,000 during COVID. During COVID, there was a massive rise in disc golf because of a lot of sports closing down, Ultimate Frisbee being chief among them. All of those players came to disc golf. And the competitive body is just scratching the surface for the audience that is out there playing recreational disc golf. So a lot of that influx of people to the sport has really surfaced a lot of issues, I think, with some of the courses that are out there that have been redesigned, and Simon's being among them. The other thing that I wanted to highlight just before we jump in is this is kind of the landscape of greater Boston disc golf courses that are out there. It's really kind of barren in terms of what's available for quality disc golf. I could go through each of these and tell you why it's really not a quality place for somebody to actually go and play, from things like maintenance to old equipment to really just being more of a pitch and putt kind of practice place. But in the greater Boston area, there's really only 2 places right now that have quality tee pads, quality baskets that are worthwhile to go and play. I think Simon's Park has a really huge opportunity to be one that can be greatly improved to be one of those supporting the greater Boston area. Now, I wanted to get into some of the current conditions and the things that I really think, are pretty obvious just by looking at, but highlighting kind of current condition issues. The biggest thing that kind of brought this to the forefront in the Facebook group that I'm an admin of for Simon's Park Disc Golf players is the tee pads. Tee pads are really supposed to be a even surface, you know, several meters long that you have to perform some pretty athletic moves. You know, you can see these are all washed out. There are roots that are in there. It's really common to have people that are tripping, twisting their ankles. It's pretty unpleasant in terms of an experience to tee off from, and I think can kind of make the course prone to injury, frankly. Second piece that I think really is in need of update is a lot of the visibility of different signage and targets around the course. If you just look at this target in general, there's not anything brightly colored. They're easy to miss as you're walking through heavily wooded forest. This basket is also called the DGA Mach 3. It was designed in 1986. Before I was even alive to come and talk to you guys. So, you know, you see the growth of myself as a human being. Trust me, there's been growth in terms of the targets that can be used on a disc golf course. And there's a lot that can be done to promote visibility. If you look at the signs that are around the course, this one over here is actually the first sign on the course. You can see there's really nothing telling anybody that that's where you're supposed to tee off from. There's nothing pointing out where you're supposed to be throwing or what direction the basket is in. You can see this is actually the first tee pad that you come upon as you play throughout the course on hole 3. It's drawn all over. It's really hard to read. And then you have signs like this one up here on hole 9 that are totally out of the ground, eroded away and in need of help. I also wanted to highlight some of the layout issues that we wanted to address in terms of thinking of a new way that disc golf could be played in Simons Park. One of the things from hole 1 to hole 2, you have to cross the driveway at the street. So you're really, you know, I mean, I think ideally in any kind of disc golf experience, you don't want to have to be worrying about whether or not you're going to get hit by a car walking from one hole to another. There are many holes that have shared fairways in terms of the way they're currently designed. So when there's heavy traffic in the park, you're actually required to throw at other players and to be really heads on a swivel for discs, which with the way that equipment has progressed can be actually pretty dangerous. And then there are parts of, this is hard to see, I'm sorry, but there are parts of the course where you're actually required to throw around and through a swamp, which I think just creates kind of a subpar experience for how the course could play in general. This is a layout of how the park is currently designed. I could go through every hole by hole, and tell you why we wanted to change certain things, but just to highlight even one farther, detail here. This is hole 1. You've got the basketball court right here. You have families that sit right here, and you have baseball players that warm up to play their games right here that you are throwing around and over and towards just to get to this basket. Another thing we wanted to try and address was holes like hole 5, where you have 2 tee pads in the current layout that are very, very far apart. So you can have people who are playing the course in different ways, throwing at the same basket, who aren't able to see each other and aren't even able to see whether there are people on separate tee pads. So one of the things we wanted to do in order to address the layout was to create one layout that really just works and has a good flow and creates a good experience, a safe experience for everybody, and really utilizes the park in a way that I think will be a lot better. So to that, I kind of went through those things, but the proposal is going to include a layout. This is actually designed by number 6 disc golfer in the world, who I looped in. His name's Simon Lizotte. He's the biggest disc golf YouTuber that's out there as well. He used to live local to the park, and he actually came by at my request with another world champion disc golfer, walked the park with me and Brendan, and came up with this layout with both of us that really makes sense. So I think if there's anything to kind of, why trust a recreational disc golfer from, from town, this is created by a world-class disc golfer. I would recommend new level 5x10 low-maintenance concrete paver tee pads where maintenance is removing one brick versus having to completely rebuild a tee pad. It's going to provide a much safer experience for players to play on. I would recommend high visibility baskets as well as new signage in several places around the park. And I actually created a new map to show you how I think this course could work. The course would start off on hole 1 over on this side of the park and still utilize this field, but really take place inside of the woods over here. You can see there are recommendations for mandatory signs, which are signs that require a player to actually use a designated pathway to throw the disc in order to really, prevent people from doing crazy things when they're playing the course. You can see one of the biggest issues that was in the previous course was down in the this lower section over here, where you had fairways that were crossing back and forth and throwing over a swamp that was, generally in this area. You can see the way that we've designed it is to throw away from the swamp, to kind of utilize the better space of the park to make a more enjoyable experience. A lot of these holes are utilizing the same exact fairways. In fact, hole 3 would be from the same tee pad, just to a different basket. Hole 4 is largely the same. Hole 5 is largely the same. Hole 6 has the same tee area. Hole 7 is utilizing an existing tee area. Hole 8 is utilizing an existing entire hole. Like this, and then it creates the opportunity to play this backwards, back up to the parking area, creating a little bit more flow. I also would recommend different caution signs that we could put around the park in different places to warn people of the type of recreation that's going on that's pretty common among a lot of other parks, as well as a welcome sign that might have information about Simons Park, information about disc golf. And I can show you, this is tee pads from Meadowbrook Orchard. That's a orchard in Sterling, Mass. They just installed these. I think they're really beautiful. It's a really great example for what a quality tee pad should be like. This course was installed less than a year ago and is already in the top 10 in Massachusetts for disc golf with the decisions they're making around the course. This is a recommendation for a tee pad. This is called a basket. This is called a Disc Catcher Pro 24. You can see it has a high visibility band across the top. These are pretty common across a lot of recreational parks as well due to their durability and visibility around the course. They're also a pro standard basket. And then this is some examples of some signage, what I would recommend to be around the park. We have an example of a hole map where this would be at every single hole, something that shows you the tee pad, where you're throwing to, where the basket is, what the par for the hole is, how long it is, and you can even have things like QR codes. If anybody wants to test that one out, it actually goes to a YouTube video for Simons Park that Simon Lizotte made. But you could have video flyovers for the course made by somebody with a drone, or even hole sponsors if you wanted to have local community, sponsor a hole, something like that. This is commonly what you'd see for caution sign as well as a mandatory that we talked about. Something like this you might find at the opening of the park that kind of highlights everywhere where all the holes are as well as the rules. With that, I just want to thank you for your time and consideration, and should the commission be interested in moving forward, and we'd be happy to put together a budget. And also open for questions, anything that anybody
you.
wants to ask.
Thank you, Nick. Good presentation. Brendan, do you want to open it up?
Thank you. So like Nick said, it's been a couple years of back and forth and walking the course, and he was instrumental in bringing in professional disc golfers to walk the course with us. So I think one of the big things, the course is probably 15-plus years old at this
Installed in
point.
2006.
2006. So I remember when I was here previously getting a start on it, and I think we had a couple holes in, and then Kelly and Rich, Cody, I think, took off the rest, took off with it and developed the rest of it. So we are at the 15-year point. We've had Eagle Scouts come in and do tee pads. Our guys have gone in and filled the tee pads, but they do erode quickly with rain, when we get it, heavy rain, but also the constant foot traffic of, running up. And they are, as you can see, smaller tee boxes. During the points in which we walked the course, one of the things was taking the main driveway to Simon's out of the picture altogether. So bringing hole number 1 over to where hole number 2 currently sits, and kind of moving the tee box maybe a little closer to the bus stop, starting there and throwing up the hill, and utilizing more of the wide open field instead of putting yourself over towards the driveway a little bit more. Doing that and being able to put a second hole in on that side to allow, to make up moving the hole from over by the basketball courts. So there was definitely thought into each of these holes. Walked the course. Nick has walked it a number of times without me, but we've walked it a couple times together, and I walked it with the 2 disc golf players that came in who love the course, and they play all over the world, and this is, a nice little course for them to come when they're in Massachusetts and play. But we also looked at, when he talks about the tee pads, I had a conversation with the gentleman at Meadowbrook about the installation of them, and, they had figured it all out, so he gave me all the specs. We identified flatter terrain areas. As you can see, the roots probably weren't there when the tee pads first went in, but over time, people walking through, they wore through. So we've identified areas in each of these spots that are basically level, maybe not 100%, but are close to it, that a tee pad like that could go into. We're not putting concrete in, so you're not, it's not like pouring concrete in a nice forest. He hit on the topic of maintenance. If a block comes loose or breaks, we can replace that, one of those patio blocks or landscape blocks, and not have to patch the whole thing or tear up the whole thing and start over. So that's another benefit to a redesign. And then it does take the less than desirable wet area that really got into play in 3 different holes almost. I believe it was like 6, 7, and 8, or 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. The park does drain and down towards the lower end where Church Lane and Cambridge Street kind of meet up. There is an area that gathers water in there, so keeping people out of it. There's been bridges built over the years, and they've fallen apart and been hauled out of there. So, getting that out of play, and then keeping it away from, as you come up to the top to 8 and 9, keeping it away from the playground and areas like that. So you're not cutting through places with throwing discs or just walking through. And then obviously the signage. Just updating everything. We're big into QR codes, our department, leading people to information. The examples of the signs, the whole signs, are great. They're simple. You could do, with that QR code, it could go to our website and be, informational. It could be something that, as Nick mentioned, a drone, that you can scan it and you can actually see where the hole goes. You could take have the drone do the hole and then make that QR code lead to that video. So we have an opportunity to really upgrade our course as well. Wouldn't make it maintenance free, but it would make it a little safer and a little more desirable. And in Burlington, we have a lot of businesses here. We're attracting businesses that don't want to be in the city anymore, that are coming out, and their workforce, we see them at lunchtime traipsing through the park and with their sacks and full of discs, and they're ready to play. They can get in, 9 holes in a half an hour or so on their hour lunch break and get a good workout in and do something they enjoy. I think it's a positive for some of these companies that are looking to locate to Burlington. It's just another thing that they can do and their leisure time, their lunchtime, along with the fitness court over on Mall Road, the fitness equipment at Wildwood, walking any of those paths. And to finish up, as Nick mentioned, they saw an explosion with disc golf during, especially during COVID, because people could get out on their own and not be around large groups of people, and one, enjoy nature, and two, get some form of exercise participating in a sport. So I support this. I think it's a positive for the park. And a lot of these are simple redesigns, getting correct signage that is fluid throughout the park, having your starting sign and then signs at each hole that match. Doesn't mean they don't disappear, because we all know, sometimes things disappear, but making them out of material that's cost-effective to replace if we have to, as well. So, Nick, thank you for putting that presentation together.
Of course, thank you.
Before we open it up for questions and comments from the commissioners, have you worked up any numbers, Brendan, on what this might cost?
We haven't. The baskets range $375 to $4 something, in that range for the ones that he showed here with the high yellow. We picked out a basket. T-pads, it's going to depend on the current cost of materials and how easily we can get those. And the signage, we haven't decided exactly what the styles would look like. So, if this is something that the commission would like to proceed with, I work with Nick to put together some numbers. And it could potentially be a Simon's Trust type project. It could be revolving fund. If the numbers are higher, it could be a warrant article. But it's something that I think, we're kind of moved out of that beginning stage, and now we're, ready to put some numbers to it if people are, if the commission would like to move forward.
All right, I'm going to open up to the commission for comments. Bill, you got a little bit late, but I know you like the disc golf idea.
I do. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and Nick. Bill Gaffney, Recreation Commission, just coming from the select board meeting for the planning board.
Welcome.
Yeah, I think an improvement to the course, as the other commissioners know, I do play. I've played around locally in different states, North Carolina, Florida, New Hampshire, Maine. And this, I think, is a unique course in that it's unique that's in the town center, right? And it's available to a lot of people, where most other courses are a bit outside of where people can do it very easily. The condition is probably one of on the lesser side, so I think this is a good activity. I don't know if you'd agree or disagree, but it has potential.
Sure.
Right?
Lots of potential.
It has a lot of potential, because just the way it's located and the way the layout is. And I think, I see people there all the time. I go every Sunday morning with my brother-in-law. Well, our families are still sleeping in. We find this to be an opportunity. And we go from, until there's really snow on the ground. I don't know about you, Nick.
I play in a league it's called New England Team Challenge. It goes all throughout the winter. I play tournaments all throughout the summer. I travel for work. I work for Workday. I travel all around the country. I play disc golf all over the place. So, I like to think I have played over 100 courses. So, as much as I'm trying to sell Simon on this, I know a little bit of what I'm talking about too, in terms of the way that we can make this really be a really special
Yeah.
place. So I totally agree.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Who's next? Kevin?
Dave, where's the treehouse gonna be?
It won't, the treehouse will not interfere with this.
It's a hazard.
Hole 8 comes up
We talked about
behind
Put a basket
behind
or something. There you
the
go.
the blacktop behind the Visco building.
Yeah.
You know where the maintenance garage is? There's a basket, it sits right behind that. And then 9 will come up past to the, if you were in the woods, to the left of the wading pool. Will come back up the hill, correct?
Yeah, this might be a little bit over to the right from where it would be. I think it'd probably be a little bit more over here, but it's, we would be playing within the confines of the current course. It's just a redesigned imagination of it.
So I was here when we first voted on disc golf. I didn't know if anyone actually would use it, but we supported it. And it gets used all the time. I drive by going home and going to work, and people are there all the time. And it's a great thing that it doesn't affect the trees, because the Simons Trust, Joshua Simons likes the trees. In the idea that we're not disturbing the tree area, but we're still making great use out of it. And I drive by it, and I don't know how you guys can, if people, you guys, Burlington High Education, can keep them in line. I would be on Cambridge Street.
Not all of us can.
It's practice.
But it does need, it needs sprucing up, and I'm willing to support sprucing it up, so we're just figuring out how much.
Yeah, and one of the things that Avery Jenkins, he was the world champion who came with Simon to walk the park. One of the things he recommended too was, you know, if people would be considerate of it as a part of the upkeep, to actually add trees in certain places. So if people are into the trees, then I'm all for adding more of them in there just to kind of keep discs in. Keep discs in the park. That was actually another big thing in terms of the way that I wanted to reimagine this, was to be able to keep. I mean, I'm from this old tee pad that's over here, you throw down to this basket, I've thrown into the street, you know, 15, 16 times on the current layout. So it's, you know, we wanted to keep discs in the park, and I think that's another thing that, like, if that's a part of it, then I would be all for that, for adding trees too, but it's not my money, so.
Any other comments? Mr. Foss?
I don't know if I'm getting way ahead of ourselves, but first I'll say that I support the idea. I think that every time I drive by and I see someone about to throw a disc, I say, I should start that. And my cousin also plays, and he keeps saying, Carl, you want to play disc golf? You want to throw the disc? Anyway, so I'm going to get into it someday, I swear. Just logistically, you mentioned the tee pads are 5 feet by 10 feet, is that correct?
That's, I mean, typically, yeah, I think you get like a 5 by 10 or a 5 by 8, something like that, in most courses.
I guess my question is, are those size pads going to be able to fit down in some of the tree areas?
I specifically walked around and tried to find soft ground in every single one of those areas. Some of them, we might have to move the tee pad back from where it currently is to find that soft patch, which actually might improve the whole, but, you know, we found areas that I think are going to be viable. If it's not exactly 5 by 10, I think
That's okay.
anything is better than a 3 by 3 patch of dirt that's been washed away by the rain and stomped through by people to twist your ankle. You know, I mean, anything that is conceivably looks like a tee pad is better than what's there, because it's that bad.
Thank you. Excellent presentation.
Thank you.
I support this.
Dave?
I just want to comment too, Nick, excellent presentation. I wholeheartedly support this. See where the budget comes in.
Yeah.
But, listen, it's the most, for me, I sit there at the light every morning, and you see people there in the morning, you see people at night, I'm sure it's being used.
Probably seen me.
Used all the time, it's unbelievable. So I've never played it. I had a bad shoulder, I can't throw anymore, so that's it. But, I support this. It's a no-brainer for Burlington.
I would agree with everything that's been said so far, Nick. I like the tee box design that you showed us, where it looks like it's the brick pavers instead of concrete blocks. And you might even be able to raise money by buying a brick or something, who knows? We need that if we need it, but I like the layout. I like the fact that people aren't throwing across the ball fields anymore. Sometimes I'm up there having a cup of coffee with my wife, and see flying them across the ball fields, and Yeah, I think it's a good layout. It looks like it's 9 holes. Is it currently 9 holes?
So it's currently 9 holes with
Yeah.
2 tee pads. I think, this would be a really good starting layout to then consider, like, if people say, hey, this is a lot harder than it used to be, then maybe we install another tee pad down the line to make a hole or two shorter. Like, we could install shorts as like a whatever,
Like
but.
blue tees and white tees.
Right, but like, for the most part, I think this is going to be received as a much more, a disc golf course that's much more in line with what you'd expect
Yeah.
to go to when you show up to a 9-hole. If you have a good basket, you have a good tee pad, you have a layout that's thoughtful where you're not throwing at other people and you kind of loop back around to where you started, people are gonna say a lot of good things about it, so.
I think what you're hearing tonight is unanimous support for it.
I appreciate
We'll
that.
wait for a follow-up presentation or report from
Sure.
Brendan on the cost estimates and different ways we might be able to finance it. But I think we all think it's a good idea. Good addition to it's a good upgrade to Simon's Park.
Okay, so we'll work on, I'll work with Nick on creating a budget for the materials and see where we're at in September or October. Give us some time to put it together, so. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you all so
very
much. I really
Nick.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Appreciate
I also
the
want to just say, I get messages every single week from people on the Facebook group that I manage, asking me about this, talking about it, requesting, like, please do something to make this a better place. So I just want to say from the disc golf community, thank you for hearing this out as well, because I know it's really well appreciated by everybody, so,
They're fortunate to have you in front.
thank you. All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Can we go back to our regular agenda now? Brendan, what do you think?
That would be great. Nick, the dongle is there for the
Dongle is
VGA.
there.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Yes.
Okay, then I think the next regular item on our agenda is the report of the Director of Parks and Recreation. Brendan.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to follow up and close the loop on the Regan Park. As you may recall in our June meeting, we had a neighbor that lived on Sedalia Road who had cleaned up the end of the road because people have been dumping debris, lawn debris, branches, things like that, at the end. Well, the area that she had kind of cleaned up and gotten rid of all the weeds and debris was a section of Regan Park. So I did talk with her, with the neighbor regarding the debris, and she had brought in a couple piles of loam that she was gonna just level out the area. When we spoke, she understood that it was town property. I looked into, there's 2 pieces there that are, one's kind of like a wedge, which we weren't sure what that was, but that turns out it's town property, and the other is Recreation Commission property because it's part of the park. So after consulting with her on what to do, the weeds and stuff had already started growing back in. There's a lot of the bamboo, the Japanese knotweed growing in it. By the time it had been pushed down, it was already back up to 12 inches, 18 inches, so it grows fast. When that dies out in the fall, she said just level the, spread the piles in your area, and then we leave it alone going forward. She's in agreement with that, and I don't think we'll have any issues. We'll keep our eye on it as far as neighbors dumping yard debris, because that's really how it came. It was just getting piled up with branches, lawn clippings, things like that. Like I said, neighbor was really just trying to clean up an eyesore, wasn't trying to take on any land or add to her property or anything, but she will not disturb it anymore going forward. We had, as part of our FY23 budget, we had included a new spreader. Our tow-behind spreader was a good 15-plus years old, was not very efficient as far as you had a pull string to open the hopper to allow material to come out, and it was hard to calibrate, and we had been replacing parts on it for some time, so we have a new Lely spreader that was delivered a couple weeks ago, and last week, a representative from the company came out and trained our staff. It's controlled via a switch in the cab of the tractor now, so we can load up to 1,250 pounds in the hopper. I think the last one was 750 maybe, so we have another 500 pounds of product that we can put in there, and it's great. It's set to the speed of the tractor, and it's all PTO driven off of the back of the tractor. There's no manual operation like there was before, and it stays on the tractor. We don't have to tow it with another vehicle. It's a nice setup. It should make easy work of our fertilization. So it's just another improvement to our fertilization program. The fall sports, as you may have seen coming in, the varsity field renovation kicked off last Monday, and is scheduled to be completed September 10th, 12th, in that range. So with varsity field offline, we've been working with the high school athletic department and youth sports groups on field schedules for the fall, and we were waiting on the last couple of youth sports that did respond, and we think we have a schedule worked out, and we will give the permits out by the end of this week, and will hopefully be only a short-term, 4 or 5 weeks of varsity field being worked on, and then we'll be able to kind of put the schedules back. So what's basically happened is the high school sports have had to move down the majority of their practices to brush. Really, it displaced field hockey from varsity down to brush. So instead of having just boys and girls soccer down at brush, they now have added field hockey in. So it's kind of pushed back the start times for some of the other sports that used brush field. Something I forgot to add to my report, but I do want to fill you in. At the end of 2021, Vermont Systems announced that they were going to substantially increase their development and support investments into PayTrack, which is their credit card processing system, and it would reduce the development efforts of any third-party payment processing. So they're going to focus on, keeping up with their PayTrack system, and put less time and support into how Vermont Systems works with third-party payment processing. After the first of the year, we did meet with them to discuss, how that could benefit us. And after comparing the fees and services and consulting with the town treasurer, it makes sense for us to switch our credit card processing to PayTrack. What will happen now is, instead of having that third party, so someone does a transaction on RecTrack, which is Vermont Systems, our program platform, and then it sends it out to a third party to process that credit card and say, yes, it's approved, no, it's not, and then come back. This will all be in-house. We will be saving fees monthly, and it will be a seamless transaction. So when people register, it's all gonna be in-house. It'll go out within seconds and bounce right back and be approved or declined, hopefully approved. So after the last few months, we've been moving forward with a plan, and we're working with IT in the treasurer's office to complete the switch. We've purchased new card readers that did require that are set up for Vermont Systems, and in the coming weeks, we'll be installing those, and then we hope to be up and running on PayTrack later in the fall, so it'll be after fall registration. Talked about Simon's Park Disc Golf, and that's it for me for now. So we'll get to
Any
new and old
questions,
business.
any questions for Mr. Regan's report? David?
Are they gonna be doing any varsity games at Brushfield?
Yes, they will have to do varsity sports there.
So
And they do in the past, they play.
No, but like varsity football, like the night games they used to.
I know they're going to, I had a conversation with the athletic director today, I know they're gonna do at least a scrimmage or two, but they've worked it out with the schools that they're playing, as far as I understand, that if the field isn't ready when they're scheduled to hold their first home game on the 16th of September. So, if that weren't ready, there might be an agreement to play at their field this year and then switch it back after that, you know, because it's usually 1 year you're home against a team and the next year you're away. So, hopefully, they've got all the carpet off. It's another group, from what they told me today, that comes in. They'll laser grade the field again, and then they're scheduled to get the turf, the new turf product, later this month, and it'll be a couple weeks to install, and that's where that September 10th, 12th date comes into play. So, it's all weather and scheduled, dependent on material, shipping, and things like that, so.
Okay, any other questions? Moving on, I'm going to go to the park superintendent. Mr. Baker.
Okay. There was a second BBSA tournament at Simon's this summer, July 16th and 17th. It was smaller, shorter, consisted of 6 games over 2 days, and the maintenance staff supported that, went well. At Wildmere Park, we recently replaced the double slide, which was damaged. There was a big hole in the bottom of it, and it took a while actually to get the parts, but we replaced the double slide and also replaced the net climber that was broken. School and fall sports are starting soon. We've been laying out and lining football practice fields for the high school in Pop Warner. We've also lined the band practice field, various other soccer fields at the parks and schools. Also, since school is starting soon, the trim crew has been getting around to the schools, cutting and trimming the areas. Like Brendan talked about, we received the Lely spreader. It's attached to the back of our small loader. It's ready for the fall fertilization. Our bucket truck is back finally and running, just in time to hang the lights on the common for the Diwali festival coming up in September. And like we talked about, we hung the 26 additional Acousti-Block panels at the pickleball courts at Simon's. The maintenance crew spent quite a bit of time preparing for Celebrate Burlington, which was on August 6th. Among other things, we trimmed the common, surrounding areas, set up horses along Simon's driveway, installed a water spigot to provide water for the dunk tank and water slide. Installed no parking signs around the common and surrounding streets, lined the Simon's field for parking, set up the large tent and performance stage on the common, as well as providing troubleshooting and trash cleanup during and after. And we've also been keeping up with our ball field lining, cutting grass where necessary, and the trash and recycling pickup around town.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Baker? Any other report? Kevin?
Okay, so my question is, we have a drought, the fields are all burning up. Do we have a plan on what we do with the fields come September? Is there a plan on how to approach them? Because we can't fertilize, because that'll make them worse, right? From what I've been listening to. Do you have
The places where they're irrigated, we can fertilize. We'll be focusing on those. Other than that, the grass hopefully will be coming back, as it does to the other areas.
okay, you can't make it rain?
I can't.
Okay, but aerating, stuff like that, Brendan, do we not do it until, because you don't
Not-
want to stress the fields, right?
Correct. So what happens is they go into dormancy. The grass goes into dormancy because it doesn't have any water. So it says, all right, it must be time to shut down. So it doesn't have that. We're not gonna aerate a field that's crispy. We do have some athletic fields that we currently have groups on playing still, like adult softball, and some permits for summer soccer. So those are getting bare minimum irrigation twice a week. Down to, I think, 15 minutes, 20 minutes maybe, and it's just for safety of play. So the fields that we don't have anything on, we've turned back the irrigation all the way. As we get into the fall, obviously, we hope it's gonna rain, and that will help, but we will do some aerating on some fields that, you know, haven't gone completely brown yet, and get some fertilizer in the ground. You know, if they are irrigated, that will help, because we'll be able to at least wet the fertilizer in, and then we'll rely on Mother Nature, unfortunately.
Okay,
So-
I was just wondering if you had, you know, like, talking to the turf company, and if they had any recommendations how to approach it to stimulate them again once we get going.
Yeah, so I met with them last week. There is some wetting agents that we can do, that we can put on, and basically what that does is, when it does rain, it holds the moisture in the agent, in the, you know, the wetting agent that is put on in the root zone, so then it disperses it slowly instead of letting it just run all the way through, and the roots grab what they can as the water is going through. The wetting agent holds it and allows the roots to grab when they need it. So, but we're not gonna put it out if there's no rain in the forecast, because that's just, we'd be throwing money away. So, it's kind of a catch-22.
Excellent. One more question?
Yes.
Okay. Weeds, it happens every year, about now that the playgrounds start getting, the weeds start coming up through. Is there anything you can do other than weed whacking them? It's just a Band-Aid, of getting rid of them, or having, before the summer help leaves, just going into a playground and pulling those weeds from, you know, try to get the roots out of them?
Well, we pull some. I do send them out to the playgrounds probably once a week, trying to get around to weed whack them. I don't really want to spray them, but I mean, as far as pulling, there's a lot of 17 playgrounds and a lot of weeds. But I do send them out. I've had them pull some, but I've sent them out generally weed whacking.
Okay. What about, before putting the wood fiber, doing a weed block next year?
I've found the weed block tends to not work. You end up with, you get grass seed or something on top of the weed block, and you just end up with more weeds, and then the weed block is just poking through everywhere. We're having problems at a lot of fields where we're trying to pull it all out now from years ago. It was just a constant fight with the weeds, really. Whether it's weed whacking, you don't really want to spray now, so it's tough just to keep them down. But
Okay. It's the same, I had the same question last year. It's it's a shame to see the playground and all of a sudden have a green area that's all weeds coming through.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? Being none, we'll move on to our programming report. Ms. Lehman.
Thank you. So for the most part, our summer programming wrapped up last Friday. We are, again, extremely impressed with all of our staff this summer. They did an amazing job. We're hearing nothing but really positive comments from our staff, from our directors, and most importantly from the community. So we really have put a lot of, as we've discussed many times, energy into the preseason orientation, and we're really seeing the benefits of that at this point. I'd really love to extend an extra thank you to our therapeutic work specialist, Emma Jones, the assistant program coordinator, Jesse Hampson, and summer program administrator, Beth Ganley. They were out every day checking on our staff, ensuring that our staff and volunteers felt heard and valued throughout the summer, taking comments, giving suggestions and guidance wherever they possibly could, rewarding our staff as they embodied our core values, providing guidance to our directors. It's really been very impactful this year for our program division across the board. And because of their efforts, we've seen a great increase in staff engagement, which obviously leads to a more positive work culture. And I think that this summer we really had that, and we really embodied it. And I think it's one of the few times that I can really confidently say that from summers past. So thanks goes out to them. They put in all of the hard work for that. So at the end of each summer season, we ask our staff to complete a quick exit interview through a quick Google form. And I did include some of the quotes from our staff here for you guys to see. One of the comments that I like the most is that the one that says one great thing happened this year was the sense of community we built. I felt like both as a group of staff and a program as a whole, we worked well together and were able to feed off each other's energy and learn from each other too. And that's really what we want our summer staff to be able to do. They're together for 6 weeks. For them to be able to build a community within their program is important to us. And it really shows in their interactions and engagement with the kids. So kudos to them. So as the summer programs that we staff start to close, we bring in camps to kind of supplement the time between our programs ending and school starting. So you'll see a variety of camps, such as the cheerleading camp, Wide World Safari Week. I put that one in so I could try to say it without messing it up, so I did the job there. Flag football, Challenger soccer, they're all, some are at our building, some are at Simon's, some are at, I think there might be one at Rahana's, one or two down there. So Jessie Hampson, our assistant program coordinator, oversees all of our camps. So she's kind of all over the place this week, just making sure they're up and running and working with the Board of Health. So that's how we kind of fill that time. The other thing we fill the time with is our waiting pool. It will remain open until Friday, August 26th. And now that Club Simon's is over, the hours return to pre-pandemic hours of Mondays noon to 7 and Tuesday through Sunday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So for the next couple weeks. We have seen an increase in the number of people using the pool again, which is nice throughout the summer. And as we wrap up summer, we are starting to introduce our fall program offerings. We're working on finalizing the fall brochure now, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to post our brochure in the coming weeks. We are shooting for a registration date the week of August 29th, which is a little later than last year, but I think it's on track to be able to at least start registering before Labor Day, which is kind of our goal every year. Therapeutic recreation. On July 15th, we announced that our therapeutic recreation specialist, Emma Jones, completed the National Inclusion Project Inclusive Recreation Certification. Emma is one of the first inclusive recreation specialists named by the National Inclusion Project. They are based out of South Carolina, and we are so proud to have Emma as part of our programming team, and she has been an amazing addition to our staff, so we just wanted to congratulate her. And wanted to talk about inclusion support throughout the summer programs this year has seen an increase of approximately 20% in participants, which we are providing one-to-one or group support within our programming. We did have a staffing shortage, and we are experiencing a staffing shortage within our TR division. We weren't able to provide some one-to-one support for participants who asked for it later in July. We just didn't have the staff to be able to accommodate them. Additionally, we also didn't have the staff to run our summer Saturday program, which is, if you're familiar with our program, it's our Out and About for, it's our,
Spectacular Saturdays.
That's it, Spectacular Saturdays, for our adults 25 and older with a disability. We did have to cancel that program due to a lack of staff in our TR division as well. So it's great that our programs and our offerings are being very well received within the community, but we do need more staff. So if you guys know anyone, or we're going to go on another hiring kind of blitz for the fall, but we do need some qualified staff for our TR division to be able to provide support and adaptive programming for the fall months. One last thing, as part of our summer preparations, we made the decision to move our first aid and CPR training in-house. We made the decision to allow for more flexibility in the training schedule and to save a little money. In June, both the Assistant Program Coordinator, Jesse Hampson, and our Fitness Administrator, Kristen Gonzalez, were trained as American Heart Association instructors. And they conducted all of our summer staff training this year, certifying 39 of our staff members. All of our staff members were certified in adult, child, infant CPR, and AED, as well as first aid. So we are looking forward to be able to train our staff in-house and provide smaller group trainings moving forward. We do require that all of our staff are first aid and CPR certified across the board. So this might not show a cost savings right now, but it will moving forward.
Thank you, Kelly. Any questions for Kelly on her report? Excellent. I have one comment, not about your report, about Camp Simons. This, I heard a couple of parents comment about, we had a really hot summer. They went up to Simons Park with their kids to try to get into the pool, and during 3 or 4 days a week during Camp Simons, they were told they can't get in until 3 o'clock. It'd be nice if we could figure out some way to accommodate kids that aren't in Camp Simons on days when it's 90-plus degrees to let them get into the pool. I don't know if the kids in Camp Simons just crowd the pool so we can't put anybody else in it. I don't know, but somebody asked me to bring that up and ask
Sure.
if there's a way to do that.
There's a couple of things. We used to get complaints from people who went up during Club Simons and couldn't get, they were able to access the pool, but there was too many people in the pool, so we shut it 3 days a week until 3 o'clock to accommodate Club Simons and let the residents have more space. That is part of the reason. The other part is our staffing issues. Closing it until 3 o'clock and not having to open at 10 a.m. really cuts down. We only need one staff member in the evening at that point, and that was a decision that we had to make based on sheer numbers.
Yeah.
Quite honestly.
told them I'd
Because
bring it
our
up.
Simon staff could watch the participants in the
Correct,
pool.
yep.
And we didn't have to bring in
Another person?
finding
Yeah.
people to do the waiting pool is proven
It
difficult.
was a tough summer not to be able to get in the pool
Yeah.
for a lot of the kids, yeah.
There's plenty of time now, and it's still warm.
Well, yeah, I hope they're listening.
No, it is a, difficult thing to try to facilitate, having everybody utilize the waiting pool at once,
We need
but
a bigger pool.
possibly.
Maybe CPA will be able to get
Yeah, I know, we pass CPA in the fall, we'll be able to get a pool. Has to be an outdoor pool though, right, under that presentation?
Yes,
I can pay for a bubble.
yeah, we could pay for a
Put
bubble.
over it, yeah, right, yeah. All right, thank you, Kelly. Any other questions on Kelly's report? All right, moving on. Chairman's report, it's been a slow summer, so I have nothing to report tonight. I don't know if we have any subcommittee reports. Anyone have anything to bring up on subcommittees? Okay, good, we're moving along. Next item on our agenda is Reserve Fund Report and Requests. Mr. Egan.
All right, thank you. So we're into our quarterly reserve fund report, and just find my report here. So the revolving account as of June 30th, 2022 has a balance of $467,639.74, of which $391,966.08 is reserved for programs, leaving $31,682.17 unreserved. So what that is, everyone got a copy of it. So the reserved monies include program, we took in registration for programs, and we hadn't finished paying out, or even in some cases started paying out for the summer program. So that's why the balance is so high. When we do our next report at the end of September, you will see the balance come down, and there may be, a larger amount of unreserved funds at that time. But the report also includes the unreserved funds that are committed, the commission has voted on for projects and for supplies to go back into the programs, and some into the facilities as well. So we will have another report at the end of September, so at some point in October, with the next quarter of the year. And with this report, with the unreserved funds, each year, the planning of Celebrate Burlington is a process that goes all year long. And in the weeks leading up to the event, program coordinator Kelly Lehman puts in a tremendous amount of time and organizing supplies and games and scheduling staff, answering phone calls from nonprofits, vendors, staff, dealing with last-minute changes. In the week leading up to Celebrate Burlington, Kelly often spends her own money to stay locally, so she's not driving home at 10 o'clock at night and returning at 7 o'clock in the morning or 7:30 in the morning. This is a surprise to Kelly, but I would like to request the commission consider paying for Kelly's hotel out of the revolving account for the 5 days she stayed in town working on Celebrate Burlington.
Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to transfer the sum of $742.65 from the unreserved funds in our revolving account to reimburse Kelly for her accommodations during Celebrate Burlington.
Moved. Second?
Okay. Any further comment or questions?
Well,
That's your motion. I'm entertaining a motion, so that's your motion.
okay,
Okay? You want to second it, Dave?
Second.
Okay, so that's Kevin's
Okay.
motion.
great. Brendan, you checked with the town if it's acceptable?
Yes, I checked with the town accountant, and he said that the commission should vote on it. It would be coming out of the revolving account.
And it's an acceptable expenditure under
Is-
his eyes?
Yes, as long as the commission supports it.
Okay, excellent. I just want to make sure we didn't go out of line, but, Kelly does live an hour away, and Celebrate Burlington wouldn't happen without Kelly, is the way it is, and, we appreciate all you do for us. Maybe next year we could put it in the budget for the whole event.
Okay.
Could be an easier way.
Yep, agreed. And
And next time, not the Ritz, okay?
never the Ritz.
That's funny.
All right, any other comments?
Mr.
Seeing none, we'll put that-
Chairman, I'd like to, again, second that Kelly, I've worked for a number of years. You talk about dedicated employee, I think it's well funding for that, so thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank you, that's very kind.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All abstained? 5-0-0. Thank you, Kelly,
Thank you.
for your hard work.
Thanks,
the-
Steve. If we're still doing a revolving account and reserve funds, can you order the cricket mat?
Yes, I spoke to the owner last week, and he sent me a updated quote invoice, so I have to have a check cut from the town, and then mailed to them, because they won't do a purchase order. They'll take my personal credit card,
You can use that
which
new
is,
system, yeah.
which is fine, so, that's our other option.
Okay.
So, all right. But I do have it. He did email it to me at the end of the week. So we will get that ordered.
Anything else under RFTs?
I have one other one that, it's coming up quickly. And I usually have this in June or July, but the National Recreation and Park Association National Conference, it's back to in-person. Last year it was in-person as well, but we didn't choose to send anyone. This year it is September 20th through 22nd in Phoenix, and the conference always features thought-provoking keynote speakers, dynamic education sessions and a great exhibit hall with plenty of unique ways to network and connect with colleagues from across the country. I am requesting the commission vote to approve $6,000 from the revolving account to send up to 2 administrative staff to the 2022 conference. Haven't figured out the 2 administrative staff yet, but I am asking. So we can register and move forward if there are 2 people that are looking to go. I know I'm interested in going, so it would be someone else from the program division. We have Bill and Brian are attending the New England Park Association Conference down in Yarmouth at the beginning of September. We have 2 other maintenance staff that were registered for the CPSI class, Certified Playground Safety Inspector. So we're back out to conferences and certifications. They're coming back in person again now that we're kind of moving hopefully a little further away from pandemic.
Okay, is there a motion to transfer the sum of $6,000 from the revolving account for professional development for our administrators?
Make that motion?
All right.
Second.
Moved and seconded to transfer $6,000 for professional development for the administrators. Any comments or questions? That's no.
Well,
Kevin?
it's just, we've done it in the past, and our staff members have actually presented at the national conference 3 years ago.
19, yep.
Yeah, and, which is quite the honor for Burlington. And, if you just could come back again like you did in the past and tell us what you picked up and what new ideas you have from it so that we know it's money well spent.
Will do.
Okay, anything else? The motion to a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All abstains? Chair votes aye, 5-0-0. All right. Any other transfers, Brendan?
Not at this time.
Okay. So we've now got on our agenda the approval of the Assistant Director Parks and Recreation's job description. Brendan?
Yes, so I emailed that out a couple weeks ago in case anyone had any questions. I reattached it to my packet on Friday. This is something that the position was approved in the FY23 budget, and we've worked with Human Resources on the job description, and it is similar to, obviously, the Director of Parks and Recreation job description. This person would be in charge in the absence of the Director of Parks and Recreation. It also takes on the administrative responsibilities that were picked up as we discussed during budget season when the Director of Recreation position kind of morphed into a Director of Parks and Recreation position. The administrative staff, or the administrative duties there were picked up by the program coordinator's position. It is dealing with contracts with vendors, with staff, when we bring on a company to do a program, it's getting their insurance, setting up all the paperwork. It is the trainings throughout the year for the staff, are some of the big ones, organizing certifications and keeping track of those, as well as assisting the Director of Parks and Recreation with financial reports and other reports for meetings as required, as well as working on capital projects are the big focus points of this description. And like I said, it has been approved by the town administration and Human Resources, and we need the Recreation Commission to approve it as well. And the goal would be to, I'll work with HR in getting this out and posted right away. I'd like to, if we have the timing based on when it goes out, to maybe start interviewing before Labor Day. And if there's anyone that's interested in sitting on that interview panel, I'd welcome some help from the commission.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the job description for the Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation? Kevin?
Second.
Moved by Kevin, seconded by David. Is there any discussion on the job description?
I have a question. So, we have now a pyramid now, so the assistant now is gonna be below you. So, just reading the description, that assistant is going to be, will be over the maintenance superintendent.
It would be over both sides, yes. So it would be the Director of Parks, Recreation Commission, Director of Parks and Recreation, Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation, Program Coordinator,
So,
Parks, yeah, Superintendent of Recreation, Maintenance, and then down.
Okay. In the past, we've had problems. Can this person run a program? If a program needs to be run? Or does the job description make that person just an overseer?
It's more of an oversight, but there are abilities to, I believe, step in and assist.
But I'm just, don't want to get into a problem that we have a union issue, that it would be something they could, what's the word again?
Grieve?
Grieve. That that person helped oversee one of the programs and not have a programming person there. I'm just, is that not an issue?
I don't think it'd be an issue, because I think the person's gonna have their hands full with lots of administrative duties. There's administrative oversight on programs in my part. I don't go hands-on and necessarily run the program, but there's administrative oversight with that, so. And the idea is that it will free up the program staff to be able to be out and into their programs more and concentrating on programming and increasing programming, so.
No, I understand that.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
don't,
the job description.
they're not gonna be, setting up programs and hiring, or overseeing a program themselves is not what they would be doing. That, we'd have our program division for that.
Okay, can I keep on going? So,
Give me an example.
We have a small department,
Yeah,
okay? It's, in the past, you just made the best of what you had, and it was always all hands on deck in order to get something done. So we come to celebrate Burlington, and our program people both get COVID or something crazy. Naturally, I presume this person or even you would step up and run the program because you would have to. Would that get grieved?
I can't answer that. I have no idea.
No, but could we add the wording in there such that when necessary, have programming ability, and if that person picks up a piece of paper in a park, we don't have an issue there?
I think we should run that
With
by-
it being said, this job description is awesome, and if you Google job descriptions for an assistant director, this is a lot more thorough than 5 towns that I looked at, including Phoenix, the city of Phoenix, on their job description for an assistant director. I just didn't want to approve a position that would get us in trouble later if there was a conflict.
So we can put that in there, right?
Right, yeah, but you have to do it now.
Well, I want to see it,
Right,
I want to
so-
see it in writing, I think. I don't
Before
want-
we vote on
Before
it?
we vote on it. It's just first, we'll make it a first reading if you want to add to it, Kevin, because I think that we should have Joanne Faust look at whatever language you want to put in there.
So Kevin, excuse me, on the second page, we do have develops plans, coordinates, and implements a diverse offering of programs and services that meet the needs of the community in cooperation with the program coordinator. So they'd be working cooperatively. I think that would cover it, and I don't know, what other language. So it's about 3/4 of the way down the page.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't get so specific that it would cause a problem down the road. And I could, it's just a question about the description.
So you want to postpone a vote on it?
No, I just had to ask the question to see.
I think if we're going to make changes to it, we should vote on it at our next meeting, and we want to get this out.
I think
Don't
I think it's right here, though. Develops, plans, coordinates, implemented.
Yeah, I think it's in there.
Okay.
Do you like that wording, Kevin?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that's what the interpretation of the wording was.
I mean, I would interpret it, wouldn't be the expert, but I don't know if HR is gonna say, she doesn't know if someone's gonna grieve, anything could be grieved,
Right.
I guess. So, I don't, no matter what the language is, it's how someone interprets it.
Yeah.
So, but I think, we covered the bases as far as assisting with program and with that line, developing plan to organize and implement a diverse offering of programs and services.
That last bullet point is nice and broad too. Perform similar or related duties as required.
Which is in all job descriptions.
Okay.
So, I think
I
we're okay.
just wanted to
I
make
just-
sure we were good on that it didn't cause a problem later.
Yeah, I don't see the person in the position going in and trying to take over programming and say, nope, this is how it's gonna be, and I'm gonna do the programming. I don't see that as,
No,
Well-
my question was that you've all, going back to Don Roberts and Bill Bedrow, it was all hands on deck, and everyone participated in order to get something done. So if that meant someone had to be there for movie night instead of, one of the hirees, they did it. I just wanted to make sure we were covered with that, but that line seems to be
yeah,
covered.
so something like that, we utilize part-time staff to, be our representative in the field. And if our part-time staff couldn't make a movie night, I would go out there, or someone else would go out there to do it. So-
Okay, I just wanted to make sure it didn't tie our hands.
Mhm.
Great. No, I can vote on it, if you'd like to.
Yeah, I think we need to get it out so we can advertise the position before our next meeting. Probably won't be until September. Unless you guys want to have a special meeting.
No, no.
Okay. All right. Any further comments, questions on the job description? Not seeing none, we'll put that to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, 5-0. Are there any other items of new business to come before the committee this evening? Any old business that anyone wants to bring up?
Brendan?
I have just a couple quick ones. Everyone saw well, maybe not everyone didn't see my email, but we were contacted by the Treehouse guys that they are targeting September 5th as their start date for the Treehouse. I have reached out to the Gillingham family and let them know, as well as the trustees for the Simons Trust of the date, and we'll work with our staff to create a formal groundbreaking event, at which point we can recognize the Gillinghams formally, as well as the trustees. And when we have that put together, the plans for the groundbreaking, we'll share that. The 5th is Labor Day. I have let the Treehouse guys know that. I have not had a response back from them, but I know they're working on a treehouse in New Hampshire, I think they were at now, or the Adirondacks, one or the other. But, as we confirm the date, we'll probably hold something in that week somewhere, a groundbreaking, and we'll do it, I'll send information out whoever can make it, and we'll try to do it when people are available. So if it's an afternoon thing, you know, if it's easier for people to get there in the afternoon, we could do that. Or if it's a Saturday morning, we can work on that as well. Okay?
Any questions on the treehouse? One quick one, Brendan. When the treehouse is completed, is it gonna be open to the public without, like, supervision? Or are we only gonna let people go in there if we have somebody there?
No, it will be open for the public to use. We will have points where we program it, and it will be closed to the public during those program times, but it's for the public to enjoy.
Okay, good. A lot of excitement about that treehouse.
There is. We're
Parents wanna
excited
know,
as
when's it
well.
gonna open?
Someone in this room, maybe sitting next to me, might be the most excited, and it's not Dave.
I'm excited.
We got a treehouse, we got disc golf.
Not as excited as our program coordinator.
All right. Any
As
other
long as I'm
items?
not making the treehouse, we're good.
No, the residents are good as long as you're not making.
Yeah.
No.
Fall apart quick.
I just have one more. Just wanted to give an update on the Simons Park basketball court. So I've been waiting on an electrical engineer to engineer the electrical portion of the project. I did get that information back. There is a plan, and those will be included in our specs. And I've also ordered the lights because those are coming off of a contract, off a state contract, as well as the basketball support, you know, the baskets and the backboards and all that stuff. Those have been ordered, so they will ship those. We're looking at 8 to 10 weeks mostly on those. And I will be, I'm finishing up the specs now, and once they're done, the bid documents will go out to bid. I'm looking at a start later in September or early October. The electrical engineering portion kind of held it up for me. I wasn't comfortable putting it out there with, you know, oh, we'd like to do this. So I do have someone that has, the person that created them is an electrical engineer. They do have experience, plenty of experience working with Musco. And so that's our lighting system, and we were able to identify room in a panel that we already have that can take the lights for the basketball court, and they can be programmed separately and everything, so we don't have to purchase a panel. So it cuts back. The money we spent on the engineer is, you know, will come back to us and not spending on the project, on another panel that we don't need. So we're excited about that. So we hope to have the project start, like I said, in late September and completed in October.
Any other questions on Simons Park basketball courts? Anything else, Brendan?
That is it.
I assume we have no need for executive session this evening?
Correct.
Okay. Seeing that, then the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Ooh, sorry, do we want to talk about a next meeting date?
Yes, that's a good point. When do you recommend we meet next?
I'd say the week after Labor Day, you know, the 12th, the week of the 12th. I'm not available on the 12th, though, that Monday.
All right, everybody pull out your calendars. if
I
you
will
have
not be
one.
available on the 12th.
We know we're not doing the 12th.
You could have the meeting without me.
I'm also not available the following Monday.
I'm getting my knee replaced the 19th.
September?
So, yeah, I'm out that week.
We can go to the hospital. Have it right there.
It's the surgery.
Didn't you already do one?
One
Yeah.
knee, yeah.
Okay,
doing the
you're
other
doing
one?
the second one?
Oh, man. Bionic
so-
calf.
The 13th, if that works, but I don't, is that school committee?
You wanna-
Well, we're gonna vote tomorrow, but it's the proposed day for, one of the proposed days for September.
I won't, the 13th doesn't work. I'm on a business trip, so I won't be back.
That whole week?
No, just the 2 days, Monday, Tuesday.
Okay.
You want to do a Wednesday?
Do Wednesday.
14th?
Yeah.
That's before your surgery? Get it in before you're limping around?
Yeah, I'll be very generous.
Yep.
Carl, does Wednesday the 14th
Yes, it does.
work for you?
Yep.
David?
Yeah.
So I will see if this room is available. If not, we'll find a room for the 14th.
Just
6 o'clock start time regardless?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry for stopping the end of the meeting.
No, that's, I can do it off record, better do it on record, I think. All right. Any other items we should consider before we adjourn? All right, seeing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, 500. Thank you all.
You're in a good
Thank
mood.
you. Yeah, you're good. That's a lot of pressure. I couldn't say all that stuff.
Oh, was it? Okay, I just, probably after.
Whatever subcommittees do you have this week?
Right across Fox Hill School.
Well, I was chairman during COVID, so it was easy.